Good day, friends. Hope you're well. It's extremely hot in Port Elizabeth. The average temperature here is actually since December is between 32 and 34. Today is a little bit cooler, about 29 degrees Celsius, but it's extremely hot. There's so many things that I want to discuss, but first of all, I want to ask you to pray, especially in our country, not in our country, in our city, Port Elizabeth. We're going through 8 years of drought, and the main dam of Port Elizabeth is its lowest point at all. We are under power cuts, load shedding, that is power cuts. Now we're also under water shedding. We can only use about 50 liters a day for household use, people. And plus we do buy water for drinking and cooking. You can't actually drink those water. So please, I ask you to pray for that matter seriously. And secondly, also pray for my friend in Australia, Ken Ray. He's on and off with, heart palpitations, arrhythmia there. And he's also looking after his mom, who is 94 years old. And it's quite a bit on him, but he's managing. So I ask you to keep Ken Ray in prayer. Sometimes you will see him, he's commenting on the post as well. Yeah, so please make that a prayer matter. I really appreciate it. And I do love you all, and I want you to listen to this video today. It was my wife's birthday the other day, January 12th. And I said I would like to discuss 73 actually. I had a dream years ago. That's first of all a few things that I want to discuss. I want to discuss that dream, and then I want to discuss this 2016, 2012 years of plenty. That just want to speak it briefly. We are currently in the first year of Joseph, the lean years, Pharaoh's dream, or the first first of the lean years. You see prices escalating, inflation is just very high. Every time we go to the shop, it's R2 more, and it's just increasing. One can't keep by. And that is what I want to discuss. I would briefly also want to discuss Jesus' birth again. I want to demonstrate it to you quickly on the stellarium, because there's so many disputes about that. You see, Jesus started his ministry on the 80th Jubilee. That is where Jesus came. He started his ministry on his 80th Jubilee, and he read Isaiah 61. And that has always been read, with the Jubilee Sabbath. Okay. So that I want to discuss briefly, and yeah, that's about that. Now, 2030, the second coming, 2023, rapture and the wrath of God, 2016 to 22, the year of plenty, and of course, October last year, 2023, kicked off the first year. And we're currently now 3-4 months into the first year. And we also have to keep in mind what Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, they were eating and drinking. So we can't go too deep into this because we are in the first year of the lean year. That we have to keep in mind as well. Now, I was hammering for the last few years about the days that Jesus was shortened in a 7-year tribulation, in a 7 days of wrath. I would call it 7 years of Jacob's trouble, rather, which is actually the wrath of God. So that 7 years are cut short by 24 months. So in actual fact, if you cut that off, Jesus have 24 months to spare. And this is one reason why, if it wasn't for the shortening of days, 2022 would have been a rapture. That's as plain and simple. That would have been the second coming of Jesus. But of course, there's 24 months that Jesus needed to work in. 24 months. Now, it doesn't affect the first year of Jacob's trouble or God's wrath, but it starts from the second year, and it's been cut short by 24 months. I have to mention it because you have to understand that watchmen do not take this into account. Not at all. And yeah, in actual fact, let me put it to you. This whole session will almost be 9 years. Yeah, 9 years almost. It can actually go on to 2031 for that matter, because there's 24 months spare. But 24, that time have to be worked in. So 2023 is the beginning of the first year, first 12 months. However, I'm going to discuss the 2030 agenda of the elite as well, and that I'm going to discuss. Now, this was a dream that I had in 2004. I'm not going into the dream, I'm just briefly going to tell you about it. Now, my focus was on the creation year, 73 to 2020. Now, as you said, if you look at Daniel, what the false prophet, what the Antichrist, also Satan, tries to do is to change the times and seasons, and which he did. He did change it, and that is why we could not find the correct year in history, especially Daniel's going forth date has also been changed. And that is why I thought it would be 2020. But it would have been 2022, but now we have to recalculate, like you're going on a tour to a destination and you go in the wrong way, then it's a recalculation. Now we have to recalculate and find out what is the correct time frame. Now, this was my dream in 2004. For me, myself and my wife, we were walking together in a big mall or something to that fact. It's also like a motel. And she was looking into me as she was struggling walking. And at the time of the dream, she was fine. But that was 2004. But 2007, she had a severe injury to her leg. She cut her leg almost in half, and she was almost like a year in hospital with this leg, sepsis to it and everything else. And now in the dream revealed that she was struggling, and she was hooked into me, walking with difficulty at that time. So now I never took into consideration her age, and she is today 73 years old. 73, she's 73. At that time, 2004, I don't know how old was she then, but I don't want to make sums now. But today she's 73, and I never ever thought an age. Only on a birthday, I remember this dream again. And by the way, Israel is also 73 years. It's also, remember the fig tree generation? I'm going to discuss it briefly next. So now, if you look at 73 minus 30, there's 7 years left. But of course, as I said, that 7 years is only 5 years in time. It's been reduced from 24 hours to 16 hours a day. So in actual fact, if you look at time-wise, it will only be 5 years. So that's 7 years now. I believe Jesus is plowing back that loss of time. Now, it's actually 24 months, so that means it could happen in 2024. But that cannot be. It's something, then Israel, of course, will be then 82 years then in 2031, if Jesus returned 2021. I mean 31, not 2031. Now, having said that, both Israel and my wife is 73. I'm going to include this video for you so you can just go with it. Now, Renee was present in a dream. I actually was telling Renee about a dream, relate the dream to her in the dream, and she was also present in the seminar here. And by the way, Renee is now a missionary in Renee Marks. Renee, she is actually a missionary in Tanzania, and they came down here for holiday, and they were also present on my wife's 73rd birthday. Now that I also find a coincidence now. So then that also reminded me about that dream as well. So yeah, I'm going to conclude this video. I don't want to take too long about it, and I want to hop quickly now to the second one. Remember, my wife is 73 now, and I had to walk 73 lanes until I get to my destination room number 20. And my wife, actually, she went into several rooms. As we go, she wanted to go into thinking that is our room. Now, let's go to the second one here. That's the dream, the parable. No, is that the parable? Okay, before that, I mentioned, speaking Israel. This is, okay, let me go first to that one, further complete that one. This is a parable of the fig tree. Now, currently, Israel is also 73 years old. Now, it did not start actually from 1948, but the leaves became tender in 1949. That is the year when Israel actually really became a truly fledged nation. So that's counted from 1949. If you count from 1949 and you count it up to 2030, that means Israel will be then 81 years. Now remember that there is time left. Jesus has 24 months left. And the agenda, as I said, the agenda of the New World Agenda, here's the New World Agenda, Agenda 2030. That only goes up until 2030. That is the elite's agenda. They, of course, they say it's not a real document. I'm not going into that. But it's only until 2030. And if you deducted that, there's 7 years, and it should be 2030. However, as I said, there are 7 years, and there's also Israel, and I discussed it in a previous video, that Jesus came to the dresser, and that's of course in a parable, and he said, well, I'm coming here now 3 years, and I can't find any fruit on this tree. And the dresser pleaded with him, and he said, give it another year. Give it another year. So Israel was given an additional year somehow. Was given an additional year, and remember that was his third year. Was given an additional year. So now, could it be that when Israel is 31, it's 81, and that year may may deduct that, and Israel is still 80 years old. So the prophecy still stands. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. So this, it should be in 2023 that that will be the second coming. And the other thing that I want to discuss with you is the this one, yeah, the 7 years. We all know it started to, what is the significance of the two smitten cars? And the first one was born in just 5 days before Feast of Trumpets, 2014, and this one was born on Feast of Trumpets. So they have one linear cow and one seven. This is a fat one, and this is a thin one. And both had a number of 7. And this, I believe this was a warning from God that the 7 good years is going to end and the 7 lean years is going to begin. So are we on the 7 lean years? Yes, I believe we are in the 7 lean years. Was it 2022 a sabbatical year? Yes, 2022 was a sabbatical year from 2015 until 2022. If it's 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 is 7 years. It was a sabbatical year. And as I said, the economy should have, the economy, yes, not this one that I said, this is a parable. I mentioned here that 2022 is going to be a great year of persecution. And truly there was a lot of persecution. People lost their jobs. They were threatened with them. If they do not take the abomination, they would lose their job. And many of them, even my son-in-law, he lost his job. And because he didn't want to take the abomination, but God blessed him with a better job at the present moment. I don't want to go into that, but I just want to tell you that. But many people lost their job, and there was great persecution. And as I said, there will be an economic crash, which didn't occur. Because I expected it to happen in 2022, but it didn't happen, people. It did not occur. So now what could be it? As I said, this was always in the back of my mind, and I always mentioned it in my previous videos about the shortening of days. And I feel that is it, people. That is it. It's not because I heard that Rockland Group mentioned something about that, but that's not a true story. That I believe that was a Jubilee 7. So in actual fact, the 7th sabbatical was 2022, and we're going to have a prolonged one of almost from 7 to 9 years, but in actual fact, it's still going to be 7 years, because the time of Jacob's tribal will be shortened by 2 years. Even if you go up to 9th year, it will still be 7 years. It will still be 7 years, although it will be prolonged to an additional year, but those years will be shortened. It just, it sounds funny, but that's the only way I can explain it to you, people. That's the only way I can explain it to you. Now, let's us go to the stellarium quickly. So now I hope you are with me in this. Look, this was 2 BC, 9th, that Jesus was born, 9/11. Some say it was a feast of, let me go to the 1800 hours. This is Mercury. Yeah. Is it 210? Okay, let's go to the minus. Yeah, I was wondering where's all those planets here. Now, some say yes, it was Feast of Tabernacles. Jesus was born. He was born Feast of Tabernacles. Not at all, people. Here is his birth. Here is his true birth. That is when Jupiter and Regulus was in conjunction with on 9/11, and Venus and Mercury and all the planets were lining up here as well on that day. And Jesus, in actual fact, if you put it like that, he was born, that was 18 just after, let's put the atmosphere, the ground off, the ground, yeah. If you look at, just turn it back, that, what's this, just after, let's go backwards, yeah, yeah, here is the ground, and this is speaker, the seed, Jesus is speak. That was exactly the time when Jesus was born. There's the sunset, and right there as the sunset, that's right about the time that Jesus was born, about 20 past 2, just after Feast of Trumpets, the evening, Jesus was born, our Savior was born, and of course we achieved victory. What a blessing day that was. And the seed speaker went into the ground, people. So you cannot argue this birth was on 2 BC. Now let me do that. They tell you must add a 0. And this is, I want you to pay attention. There's countless days forward there. The 0 is already included there. As 1, there's a 0. You don't need to add a 0 in there. If you add a 0, you're going to make a mistake. And how I discovered this, because Jupiter revolves 12 years around the sun, and every 12th year it lands up in every 12 years it lands up in Virgo. So let's put the, what's his name, off here, the ground off here. Yeah, that's the growth. And every year Jupiter lands up. Jupiter is not here now. It was, of course, way back 2017. We saw that Jupiter was in Virgo. And 2029, she will also be back in Jupiter. Will also be back in Jupiter. That's 12 years from 2017. So there's an additional year 13. If you make it 3 BC, then you add up to 13 years for Jupiter, and that does not align, because that is a time frame for Jupiter. So there is also checks and balances. So the date of Jesus is 2 BC, people. Nothing else, nothing less. It was 2 BC. Sorry, that is a minus. Jesus was born 2 BC, before Christ. Yeah, I would say before Christ. That was exactly here Jesus was born. So I hope you have it now, people. My wife turned 73 years, and she swooped into me, and she had that injury. She's really struggling with her leg. And many nights, every night, almost every night, people, I always see her massaging a leg with the strongest, whatever ointment that you can have, because you don't want to use tablets, you know. And she does use the threshold, but that just don't work. She really suffers. She can hardly actually walk with that leg. And we prayed much about that, but she really suffered with that leg of hers. And now every time she's worked, she refused to use a walking stick or anything like that. But eventually I think I need to get a wheelchair that she can push it with, and she get tired and can sit on it as well. But she refused. She do not want to use a crutch. That's my wife. Anyway, yeah, so it's load shedding here. If you see the lights going off here, it's going to be load shedding again. So please do share this video, and much love from me and my wife. We're always praying for you, people.